And now, the continuing story of Another World.
Russ is seeing the district attorney?
Yes, Zachary Colton's office called and asked if he could come down when he was free from the hospital.
Did they say why he wanted to see him?
I assume it was questioning about the shooting.
But Russ wasn't here. He came afterwards.
Well, then I'm sure it was just a routine interview.
Wish it would all end.
It will, Rachel, it will.
But when? Zachary Colton seems determined to make this drag on as long as possible.
You know how it is. It's all that red tape and the filing. I'm sure it doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't. Sam, glad you stopped by.
I'm sorry I couldn't get here sooner.
It's all right. It's been a madhouse around here.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mom and Charlie have been a big help. They've been living here.
Russ told me.
I don't know what I would have done without them.
That's a good thing you didn't have to try. That's why families are so important. Where's Mac?
Oh, he's on a call upstairs to the office. He'll be down shortly. I'm sorry. Do you want something?
No. I can only stay a little while. I've got to get over to the club and go over some numbers.
The supper club?
Yes. Tonight's my first night back.
I thought there was some other singer singing there.
Cindy Lee quit after a blow-up with Jason.
Oh, I see. So you're filling in.
Yes. If I had my druthers, it would be about 2 weeks away, but Jason was in a bind, and I didn't feel I could let him down.
They couldn't get anyone else?
No, it was such short notice, and since Mitch is gone, Jason's got everything at the club on his hands, and I just... Rachel, I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned Mitch. I mean, I can understand how you must feel, but you shouldn't, because no one blames you. It was an accident.
I pulled the trigger.
It was still an accident.
Doesn't change the fact that I killed him.
There was something that I thought of telling you, and then I wasn't sure I should. But now I think maybe it would help you.
What?
As you know, Mitch was very popular with the employees at the supper club and the disco. They were like his family since he didn't have one of his own. He used to send the kids birthday presents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well,
he was very thoughtful as far as kids were concerned.
Yeah. So they've all gotten together and decided to hold a memorial service. It'll be at Northridge Chapel. And it's a lovely place. They have big pine trees and a nice view of the valley. It's the kind of place Mitch would have loved. I think perhaps it would be good for you to come.
I don't know.
Rachel, first of all, you would see that people don't blame you for what happened. And secondly, maybe you could make your peace with Mitch.
When?
It'll be the end of the week. I don't know exactly. I can get back to you with the exact days. Maybe Matt could come with you.
I'll talk to him about it. I'll have to think about it, Tracy.
Yeah. Think about it.
I'm not so sure I should be there.
So, this is Mitch Blake's motel room, huh? Not a very classy place for a guy who ran such a fancy disco. Everything looked pretty much the way you left it, huh?
Yeah, we sealed it off after the photographer was through. Shouldn't have been anybody in here.
Well, she's a handsome woman, Rachel Corey.
Yep.
Wonder where he got all these photographs.
Well, he could have taken them himself.
Or else She gave them to him. Anything written on any of these?
No, sir.
Must have gone on quite a rampage here. She must have done something to tick him off.
Well, everybody we talked to thought that Mitch was a pretty mild-mannered guy.
Yeah, well, makes you wonder, doesn't it? This is the book you told me about, huh?
Yeah.
Harry Must Die. Well, must be a mystery of some kind.
Yeah, it looks that way.
It's funny some of these pages are turned down.
Oh, maybe he wasn't finished reading it yet.
Yeah, but why would he mark more than one page? Looks to me like he was studying it. So, wonder why.
Will you let me know if I can do anything for you?
Yes, that's very sweet of you.
Okay, well, I really have to go now. See if I have enough voice for tonight.
Well, thank you for coming by.
Okay, and I'll give you a call tomorrow and see how you're doing.
Tracy.
Thanks.
How are you?
Oh.
I'm sorry I couldn't get down earlier. I was on the phone to Jamie. Seems there's trouble at the printing plant.
Oh, nothing serious? How?
No, just one of the presses broke down. He and I are trying to decide if we had to make a change in the production schedule. You're not going already, are
Yeah,
you?
I'm afraid I have to.
Oh, shucks.
Tracy was just telling me she has to take over at the supper club tonight.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're going to be a great success, as you always are.
Oh, I just hope I can get through 2 shows.
She was also telling me that they're having a memorial service for Mitch, and she was wondering if we wanted to be there.
Well, that's up to you, darling.
Well, you don't have to decide now. As a matter of fact, you could decide at the last minute.
You understand the problem.
Of course.
The press hears about it. They'll turn out in force. There'll be pictures and difficult questions, and it'll probably be very disruptive.
No, I
To the
understand.
service.
I understand.
Also, I actually think we ought to speak to Brian about it, too.
You really think I should be there, Tracy?
I think people will understand whatever you do.
Let's think about it, darling.
I told Rachel I'd call her with the details.
Fine.
Well, I really have to run now.
You have a good show tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
stopping
you.
by.
Sure, I'll talk to you.
What a sweet, thoughtful woman she is.
Yes, she is.
How's my sweet, thoughtful woman holding up?
All right.
I hope so.
Where's Amanda?
I think Vivian took her down by the water.
She must be wondering what's going on.
Darling, I doubt if she even notices. That's another wonderful thing about children. They can just take life on faith. You know, Rachel, I've been thinking.
About what?
These last few months, so many things that puzzle me.
What things?
Well, like, there was so much of Mitch in our lives.
I already explained that to you. He just deliberately showed up whenever he could.
I know, darling. I'm not talking about the man's unexpected appearances. The only things that puzzle me.
What?
Well, it was the man himself. It was the feeling that, like there was something on his mind, always unspoken.
He had trouble expressing his feelings, that's all.
Apparently not to you.
Yes, to me. He was a very troubled person.
Why didn't you come to me when he first became a problem?
I couldn't.
Didn't you trust me?
It wasn't that, Mac. You've been through so much. Janice and Mitch. I couldn't subject you to anything else.
So instead, you decided to subject yourself to it.
I thought I could handle it.
That's what marriage is about, sweetheart. People helping each other through difficult situations.
I just wanted to protect you.
What are your feelings about Mitch now?
They're very complicated.
Do you want to go to the service?
I don't know, Mac. I really don't know.
I suppose when all's said and done, I ought to go.
Why?
Well, you said he did help you to save my life. I just wish I could remember what happened during those St. Croix days.
You're better off not remembering. It was a terrible time for all of us.
Yeah. Must have been terribly difficult for you to trace me down to find out where Janice and I were. When did you find out that Mitch had decided not to go along with their plan to poison me?
I never knew that. I never knew that.
Did you see him down there before you followed him out to where Janice and I were?
Who's here?
Guess it must be the Johnsons.
The Johnsons?
Give Johnson. They were kind enough to offer to stable our horses, you know, until we can rebuild.
It's very nice of them.
Yeah. They're coming over to pick up some feed. I better bustle up Malvaro.
You're supposed to be resting.
Oh, don't worry, sweetheart. I'll just supervise.
You startled me.
You startled me. I saw you standing here.
I've been looking for you. What's the matter?
You show up in St. Croix and ask what's the matter?
Aren't you glad to see me?
Yeah, when did you arrive?
This afternoon.
Where are you staying?
Around the corner.
How did you know where I was?
I made a few phone calls. Any more questions?
What are you doing down here?
I might ask you the same thing.
Because I'm not in New York?
Yes, that's right.
I tried to get in touch with you.
Oh, really? Well, I guess I should have been more patient.
Louise didn't tell you I called?
I haven't been in touch with Louise very much lately.
She insisted that you had gone to New York to see your art dealer.
Yeah, well, that's what I told her to tell people.
Why couldn't she tell me the truth?
Because I wasn't sure how you would feel about me coming down here. I wasn't even sure how I felt about it.
No?
I haven't done something that impulsive in a long time.
How is that impulsive?
Well, I found out where you were and I got on the next plane. You haven't told me how you feel.
You know how I feel.
No, I don't. I don't think I know anything about you.
I don't think you're like any other woman I've ever known.
Why am I so different?
Because you somehow find a way to get to me.
No, I don't buy that. When you took off from Bay City, I don't think you planned on continuing this relationship.
Why do you say that?
Because you took off so abruptly, you didn't tell me where you were going.
I figured we were getting to a dead end.
And now?
And now a lot seems possible.
Guess anything is possible if I came down here uninvited.
Did you tell anybody where you were going?
Just Louise?
Did you leave Amanda with her?
Mm-hmm. It's easier than explaining it all to Mom.
She's a good kid.
She's a terrific kid. She thinks you're pretty terrific, too, you know. She thinks you're synonymous with making snowmen.
I guess Mac will be doing that now.
Matt?
Is he back from his trip yet?
No, he wasn't now when I left.
Where'd he go?
I don't know. Took Janice on a cruise somewhere. Guess it was a belated honeymoon.
Does that have anything to do with why you came down here?
Why did you say that?
Max out with his new bride, I figured maybe somehow, some way, you were trying to retaliate.
It had nothing to do with that.
Good. Well, that seems possible.
That's what you said.
That's what you agreed to. If you don't mean it, I'd like to know it.
I mean it. Bob? Can you come over? I just need you.
I appreciate that you must be very busy trying to run the supper club on your own now, so I'll make this as brief as possible.
Well, thank you, if that's all right. Actually, things don't start hopping over there for another couple of hours yet.
I read Larry Ewing's report on his talk he had with you the other day. He said Mitch Blake had no living relatives. Is that correct?
None that I know of. You see, Mitch was what you'd call a loner.
Apart from his friendship with you.
And a few others.
Did he ever talk to you about things that were bothering him?
Yes, sometimes. But you really had to dig it out of him. Mitch never volunteered much.
Uh-huh. Mr. Dunlap, what can you tell me about his relationship with Rachel Corey?
I know that it was a lot heavier than most people thought.
Uh-huh. How do you mean by heavier?
He was in love with the woman.
Really?
Yes, really. It was something he couldn't control. It really became quite a thing with him.
But how do you mean, like an obsession?
Yes, that's right. You know, I would have come to you guys right away, but I didn't want you to get the wrong impression that I was doing it out of spite or anything like that.
Why would you be doing it out of spite?
No reason. It's just that volunteered information sometimes reads like gossip. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, of course, I know what you mean. Were you aware of any gossip between Mitch Blake and Rachel Corey?
I had heard a few rumors, but they were all wrong.
How do you mean wrong?
People thought it was a one-sided thing.
Mr. Dunlap, are you saying that it's not or wasn't a one-sided thing?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Rachel was as crazy about Mitch as he was about her.
And how do you know that?
Well, she followed the guy down to St. Croix, didn't she?
When was that?
It was, let me see, she had just designed that mobile for his disco. March, April, around there.
So you think that Mitch Blake and Rachel Corey were together in St. Croix?
Yes, but not for long. Just after she got there, all that crazy mess started down there with Rachel's husband and that woman he married who tried to poison him.
Yes, I remember that. But do you think they continued their relationship after they returned to Bay City?
Yes, they sure did.
Except that Rachel and Mac Corey were remarried shortly after that, weren't they?
Yes. Well, you do know the story behind that.
No, I'm not sure I do.
Oh, come on, Mr. Colton. Mac Corey is a pretty good catch by anybody's standards. Rachel is a very bright woman. Much too smart to let him wriggle off the hook.
You think she married him for his money?
What do you think?
Well, I'd be a lot clearer if I knew that she went down there to be with Mitch Blake.
Take my word for it. She did.
Why should I?
Because she came to me when she was trying to find out where he was.
And you were able to tell her his whereabouts?
No, I couldn't. You see, I had written down the name of the hotel and the number on a matchbook folder, then I misplaced it.
Then how did she locate Mr. Blake?
Through Tracy DeWitt.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm sorry. I mean Tracy Matthews, Dr. Matthews' wife. Tracy told Rachel where Mitch was.
How did Mrs. Matthews know where to find him?
Well, she and Mitch were fairly good friends.
How good?
I think I know what you're thinking, Mr. Colton. I can assure you they were just friends.
Well, oh, yeah, of course, she worked at the supper club, so they would have known him through that
Yes,
connection.
that's right. Mitch used to go over there and talk out his problems with Tracy from time to time.
Well, what did Dr. Matthews make of that?
He didn't care. There was no reason to. I told you, there was nothing between them like that. You know, now that I think about it, it might be good for you to talk to Tracy about Mitch. She always said that she understood the guy.
How well did Mrs. Matthews know Rachel Corey?
Very well. Tracy's husband, Russ, was married to Rachel at one time. Tracy could probably tell you a lot more than I can about Mitch and Rachel.
Mm-hmm. But do you think Rachel Corey chased after Mitch Blake to St. Croix?
Yes, I do.
Ada.
Hi, Ron. Hi, Jane.
Hey, long time no see.
Yeah, well, it has been a long time.
Where have you been keeping yourself?
Oh, I've been here, where I've always been. How's Betty?
Oh, she's fine.
Oh, that's good. You give her my love, okay?
Oh, you bet. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Hey, Ada, what's up?
Hi, honey. Listen, I'd like to talk to you, if you've got a minute.
Sure, I got a minute. More than a minute for you.
Well, is there someplace we could go?
Don't bother. We were just headed out to lunch. Larry, can I get you anything? No, I'll pick the bite up later. Talk to you later, Ada.
So long.
Good to see you.
Bye.
You have some friends here, I see.
Yeah, well, Gil trained most of these guys, you know?
Yeah, I know. They still talk about it. So, you gonna tell me what brings you down here?
Well, it's about Rachel. I was just on my way out to see her.
How is she?
And well, not too good.
Yeah, I know how tough this must be on her.
Yeah, it is.
Wish there was something I could do.
Well, maybe there is.
Just name it.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question, you know, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
Well, what's the question?
Well, I've just been wondering. Is there anything unusual going on, you know, in the investigation of Mitch's shooting?
Not unusual?
Well, yeah, you know, like guys working overtime and extra guys being called in and a lot of people being questioned, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Everybody's going about it in a normal procedure.
Zachary Colton, too?
I think so.
You don't sound so sure.
Well, you gotta know Zachary Colton's a pretty thorough guy.
What do you mean thorough?
You know, thorough, well, like he had us go over Mitch Blake's apartment with a fine-tooth comb yesterday.
Well, yeah, but wouldn't you have done that anyway?
Yeah, but see, he picks up on little things. Things that, wouldn't mean a thing to anybody else.
What things?
Well, see, there was this book that was on Mitch's dresser that he seemed to be pretty fascinated by.
What was the book?
I think it's called Harry Must Die.
Harry Must Die.
Yeah.
You
what?
sure?
Yeah. You know it?
Yeah, I know it. I mean, I've seen it around, you know.
Well, Colton thought that Mitch might have been studying it for some reason.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. What's the matter, Ada?
Nothing.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Look, honey, will you do me a favor? Will you just forget I was here, forget I asked you any questions, okay?
Yeah.
What do you think of her, huh?
Isn't she
What do you think of her? Would you like her?
You like her? You can take her. Pat brought her to you.
I brought her for you, honey. I found her in Chicago at a crafts fair.
That was so sweet of you, Pat. And look, her hair
Oh,
matches
sure.
hers.
Amanda, you have another rag doll to go with your other rag doll.
Yes, you can have
I
two
knew she'd
together.
love her.
It's upstairs.
What you gonna name her?
I was going to give her to Aunt Liz to bring to the office, but I haven't seen that much of Aunt Liz, and then I forgot to bring her when I came yesterday.
Oh, yes, I heard you had been by to see us. I'm sorry I couldn't see you.
I understand, Rachel, believe me.
Mac and I have missed you a lot.
Oh, thanks. Well, I hope we can see each other more now that I'm not so busy. It's just too bad it has to be an unfortunate event that brings us together.
Will you love me?
How you feeling, Rachel?
I'm all right.
If there's anything I can do, please let me know. Thank you, Pat.
Well, now I'm afraid I have to take her down and give her her lunch and
Mommy's gonna take
you
and
your
give you a cookie
nap.
right now.
Okay, we'll take the doll.
Yes.
Come on.
You're
She's losing her
You're gonna get one. Say bye-bye, Pat.
Okay, I gotta get
Bye-bye.
Oh,
listen, you get a
sweetheart,
reprieve.
Oh, come get your dolly
Okay,
to take
you
with
stay with Daddy. I'll
Come
get you in a minute.
come get your dolly to
Fix
take
her.
with you. And then you can go get a cookie right away. Are you okay? You ready to go get the cookie? Well, come on. Up.
Hi,
You're a big girly now. You're a big girly. You can pop anywhere you want to go.
Hello, Matt.
Oh, hi there, Cecile.
Pat. Hello, Cecile.
I was just saying to Pat I have to take Amanda down and give her lunch and a nap.
Oh, yes, well, don't let me keep you.
Come on,
And the
come on,
cookie,
come on,
don't
let's
forget.
Go. Let's go get the
And the
cookies,
cookie.
okay?
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
Amanda.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Pat.
Say thank
You're
you to
welcome.
Say thank you to Pat for his pretty dolly.
Goodbye.
Yes, good girl. Well, I'm glad you came over.
Yes, I have some spreads for the next issue of Bravo. I thought you might like to take a look at them before we're set tight.
Good, I'd love to. Maybe we can even talk Pat into looking them over, too. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, if she wouldn't mind.
Well, the two most important Bravo girls in the world. I sure would like to get you two back working together again, you know.
Well, I'm sorry to take you away from your patients, Doctor.
That's all right. I rescheduled a staff meeting, that's all.
Well, you understand that we're anxious to clear up this investigation as quickly as possible.
Yes, and I'm all for that.
Yeah. Well, now, I assume that from your being at the Corys the other evening that you are a close friend of theirs.
Yes. Yes, in fact, I was once married to Rachel.
Oh, is that right? Oh, now, wait, yes, I seem to remember someone did tell me that, yes. Well, that must make for rather a ticklish situation from time to time. I mean, with Mr. Cory.
No. No, Mac and I get along quite well.
Ah, well, that's it's quite unusual, wouldn't you say?
Perhaps. Nevertheless, it is the case.
I see. What about Mitch Blake? Was he a friend of yours as well?
I would not exactly call him a friend. No, I met Mitch through my wife. She sang at his club.
And they were close?
Yes.
Did Rachel Cory ever confide in you any of the problems that she was having with Blake?
I knew about them.
Now, how do you mean that you knew about them?
I was at the Cory house several times when Mitch came by. I gathered that he was giving Rachel a difficult time.
Yes, and that she was trying to avoid him. I mean, that's the general picture.
That is the general picture, yes.
Do you know this book, Doctor?
And now, the next part of Another World.
Are you familiar with Harry Must Die?
I've read it.
Yes. It's a pretty good title, isn't it?
I suppose.
Well, you seem a little surprised at seeing it here.
I guess it's just unusual to see it here in your office.
Really? In a district attorney's office? I can't think of a more appropriate place to find a murder mystery.
Mr. Colton, I suppose I must tell you the book has unpleasant connotations for me.
Yes? You didn't enjoy reading it?
It has nothing to do with its literary merit. It was used as a blueprint for murder.
Oh, yes?
Scott Bradley flew to St. Croix to investigate the case before you took over for him.
Yes, I remember. Mac Corey was being poisoned, wasn't he?
By his wife at the time, Janice.
Yes. So this is the book?
Yes.
One of my men found it in Mitch Blake's motel room.
And do you find that unusual?
No, not necessarily, if he were just reading it.
Oh, what else would he be doing with it?
Well, you see, a number of the pages have been turned down throughout the book. It's almost as if he were studying it. Do you have any idea why that might be?
Only the most obvious one, Mr. Colton.
And what's that?
Mitch must have been part of the plan to murder Mac, although that was never proven.
Well, now, how do you mean, part of the plan?
I believe he was involved with Mac's former wife, Janice.
Involved amorously?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a very bizarre story, isn't it?
Yeah. And a very unpleasant one.
Yes. Yes, that's why I'm surprised that Mitch Blake would have it in his room. It must be unpleasant for him to have the book around still.
He may have intended to get rid of it.
It was the only book in the room, Dr. Matthews.
Nevertheless, it does not indicate that he was studying it, as you put it.
No, I suppose not. So you have no idea if or why Mitch Blake had a continuing interest in the book?
I have no way of knowing what was in Mitch Blake's mind, Mr. Colton.
Well, thank you for coming by, Doctor.
I hope I've been of some help.
Oh, yes. Yes, you have. I see that this book was published by Corey Publishers. That's quite a coincidence, isn't it?
A terrible coincidence, yes.
Yes. Thank you again, Doctor. Going to key a B flat over here at the bridge, okay?
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, right. Oh, that must be Jason.
Hiya, gang.
Hiya,
I'm
Jay.
sorry I'm late, but I had to stop off at the district attorney's office. How's rehearsal going?
We're getting through it.
Oh, that doesn't sound very enthusiastic.
I don't feel very enthusiastic.
What'd the DA want, Jason?
Oh, just ask me a few questions about Mitch.
What kind of questions?
You know, background, family background, what kind of a person he was.
What'd you tell him?
I told him what I knew. By the way, Tracy, Zachary Colton is going to want to see you, too.
What about?
He was very curious about why Rachel followed Mitch to St. Croix.
But we know why.
No, we only think we know why. But since you, helped locate Mitch, the DA is going to want to talk to you, too.
Yes, well, I got a call from Tracy earlier, and she wondered if the whole family could lend their moral support to her opening tonight at the supper club.
Well, that's a good idea. I think we should be there.
Oh, yes? Do you think you can tear yourself away from your other interests for one evening?
What other interests?
Well, for one thing, that stripper from Las Vegas.
Margot is not a stripper. She was a showgirl.
A showgirl shows, doesn't she?
That's not quite the same thing.
What's different? Cecile.
Oh, hello, Liz. Jim.
Hello, Cecile.
Cecile's been out seeing Mac and Rachel. How are they doing, dear?
They're fine.
I hope you told them we're all terribly concerned about them. Poor Rachel. She must be beside herself.
Well, she seems to be all right.
Well, you know, Rachel is the kind that she holds everything inside. That poor girl. I've got to get out there myself soon.
Well, I think she has plenty of company, Liz.
Oh? Was someone else there?
Yes.
Who?
Pat. I've got some things I've got to handle in Mac's office. Would you please take any calls that come for me? Thank you.
Certainly. Wonder what she's so upset about.
Most likely seeing Pat.
Liz, Cecile in Mac's office. Hello, sir.
Hello, Philip.
Yes, she is, but she's very busy, Philip.
Liz.
You heard what she just said, Jim.
I have the final draft of a book that she's thinking of serializing in Bravo magazine.
Oh. Well, in that case, you may go in.
Thank you.
Liz, why are you always so rude to that young man?
I don't like the way he treats that darling Cecile. Now, if we could talk about something more interesting, like, what time do you think you'll pick me up this evening?
How does 7 sound?
7 sounds wonderful.
Hubbard made most of the changes that you asked for.
I really can't look at these now, Philip. I have much too much to do.
Well, fine, then I'll leave it with you.
She thinks she's really smart, doesn't she?
Who?
Pat.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about the way she's been sneaking around behind my back.
Oh, come on, Cecile. Pat wouldn't do anything like that.
Oh, then what was she doing at Mac and Rachel's this afternoon?
They happen to be old friends.
Oh, and she just happened to show up there the same time that I did.
But what did you expect, Cecile? That she was going to check your schedule first?
Actually, you know, I was probably the last person in the world that you wanted to run into. It's a lot easier to knife somebody when their back is turned.
You're joking. You're accusing Pat of stabbing you in the back?
She's just been biding her time, waiting to catch Mac in a vulnerable moment. Now she'll have him believing all sorts of terrible things about me.
Why are you way off base?
Are you denying that she wants her job back?
Even if she did, Cecile, she wouldn't use your tactics to get it back.
Huh. You're behind her in all this, aren't you?
Not yet.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
It means that perhaps I'm the only one who's onto your little game. But I'm warning you, Cecile. It's not going to be for very long.
Tracy, you're not nervous about singing tonight, are you?
As a matter of fact, I am.
Oh.
Yeah. Listen, would you come? It would make me feel so much better.
Well, I'd love to. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim and Liz said they were coming too.
Oh.
And I would like to invite Philip.
If you're going to invite Philip as an escort for me, I don't think it's a good idea, Tracy.
Why not?
Oh, he probably has a lot of other things to do tonight anyway.
Well, he can always say no. And besides, I happen to know that he likes you a lot. Now, let me call him, okay? Yes?
If you insist.
Good.
By the way, Max said that you were out to the house to see him and Rachel this afternoon.
Where did you see Mac?
I just came from there. Terrible strain they're both under. Rachel doesn't say anything, but you can tell it's all she thinks about.
Russ told me that she had to go down to the DA's office yesterday to make a statement.
I hope it's over soon.
Hello? Mr. Colton's office? Yes, this is she. Yes, I can come down, but any time in the afternoon, I suppose, yes. All right. Yes, certainly. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Goodbye.
Tracy, the district attorney wants to see you?
Yes.
Well, why?
I don't know.
Shooting question isn't over yet, is it?
Doesn't look like it.
Sounded so upset on the phone.
I am upset.
Well, I heard something today that got me
Mom.
going. Oh, honey. Come on now, it's gonna be all right.
I just need you right now. I don't need anything else, just you.
Well, you got me. I'm right here.
It's Mitch.
Well, don't think about Mitch anymore.
I can't help thinking about him.
Look, it wasn't your fault.
But, Mom, he loved me. That's all it was. It's not so bad.
Well, nobody said it was.
I just keep thinking if only I'd tried to understand him.
You did.
I didn't. If I had understood him, maybe he wouldn't be dead by now.
Look, it was an accident.
The questions they keep asking me.
Honey, it'll all be over soon.
I hope so. I hope so for Mac's sake as well as my own.
There was this book on Mitch's dresser, and Colton really seemed to be fascinated by it.
What was the book?
It was called Harry Must Die.
I'm sorry. I keep falling apart like this.
Honey, that's okay.
You started to say something when you came in. What was it?
Oh, did I?
Yeah, I think so. What was it you were going to say?
And now, the next part of Another World.
What did you want to say to me?
Oh, not now, honey. Later for that, okay?
It's important?
No. It wasn't important. Mr. Corby's office? Yes, this is Mac Corey's executive assistant. Zachary Colton? Certainly.
Mrs. Matthews.
Yes?
I'm sorry to bother you.
No, that's all right. What can I do for you?
Well, I have a copy of one of your books here in front of me, Harry Must Die.
Oh, yes, that is one of our books, and I must tell you, it's selling very well. In fact,
I was wondering if you could give me perhaps the telephone number of the author, Donald Tanner.
No, I'm afraid I can't do that.
You don't have the number?
Yes, we do have the number, but we also have a policy about giving out personal numbers. Now, Mr. Colton, if you wish, I can call Donald Tanner, and I can ask him
This is an official matter, Mrs. Matthews. It'd make things a lot simpler for me if you could just give me that telephone number now.
Join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Another World.